Hello YouTubers, it's your buddy Choppadong. Today we're going to talk through the DFS diary and talk a little bit about results. I want to show you a couple of things there, and then we're going to talk a little bit about a kind of a new twist. I'm going to give you a piece of the puzzle today instead of the and one rating system like I usually do for NBA. I'm going to show you a little bit different way to interpret our research station over at dfsarmy.com. If you don't know about me, of course, my name is Choppadong. I am out on Twitter at Choppadong. You can follow me out there. I'm always trying to talk about a little bit different content, a little bit next level stuff, trying to bring to you some of the differences and some of the tools that we provide inside dfsarmy.com, where I hope you become a VIP to come in and get the answers to your questions, as well as become a better player. dfsarmy.com, down in the comments section, coupon code New Year. This week, the coupon code New Year triggers 20% off your first month. So if you've been sitting on the fence, you've been waiting to try us, and there's no better time than right now to use that coupon code, get in here, and invest in your own game. Let's make you a little bit better player. I've been talking a lot this morning with guys about getting their heads right, and what it really kind of made me think of, because a lot of people are down, we see a lot of winning. Of course, the DFS Army's winning. I can go through screenshot after screenshot after screenshot that I've compiled today. I've got 5 or 6 big winners again last night from our NBA program, as well as we got a big tennis winner, we got a hockey winner. We got a whole lot of positive stuff going on inside DFS Army, but we got a lot of guys that are just missing out a little bit too, and they see a lot of people winning all the time and wonder, when am I next? When am I next? Well, I'm going to tell you, the hard part about daily fantasy sports is staying positive in a losing streak, and also if you're not in the right format or you're not in the right type of game. And I'm starting to have questions about the whole Fanduel drop score. Maybe I'm slow to the party, but I personally love a challenge. And that's kind of what I want to focus on a little bit today, because I've been saying for a while that some of what we've been doing, what this drop score has done, has actually increased the variance of the game, which decreases our edge, or the other way around. It decreases our edge by dropping that score, therefore it shortens the lineups, therefore it increases the variance, and therefore it makes us go through longer losing streaks. And you still may have an edge in the game, but it may not be as dominant as it once was. That benefits FanDuel, honestly, because FanDuel's job is to collect rake. Their job is to collect your money. Their ultimate goal is to have this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy all even, and just indefinitely passing the money back and forth. No edge. They don't want you to have necessarily an edge, because then you will suck the money away from the fish. The fish will no longer redeposit. Therefore, they will continue to they won't continue to play. They'll leave, and then FanDuel's actual user base dries up. That's not their goal. That shouldn't be their goal. If you want to be a viable business, you need to make yourself long-term solvent. And that, I mean, we got to understand what's at stake here. We need to determine whether or not we have an edge and play where we have that edge. And I don't know that we have that edge in the drop score format. We certainly don't have it like we used to. Now, I enjoy a challenge. I'm going to keep playing with it and trying to figure it out. But I don't think that a lot of people are having a lot of success with it around the industry. And that's what I'm diving into right now. And that's what I want to show you. Don't feel terrible if you're really, really struggling with that FanDuel. Head over to DraftKings. That's fine. Their game didn't change this year. Play a different sport. Tennis. There's a big edge in tennis because not a lot of people know how to play it. Soccer, too. Go where the edge is, and that's where you're going to profit if you're into this for the long-term skill advantage. Now, if you're like me and you're trying to teach a community or show a community where to play, I'm eventually going to get to the point where I'm exhausted and I'm going to say, just get out of that format altogether. Sorry, FanDuel, can't recommend you if you suck. But what I'm going to try and dive into, if you've taken all of our edge away, I shouldn't say if you suck, but if you take all of our edge away, we're not going to be there for long. The smart ones aren't. So I'm looking here at the players, and I don't see the avatars I used to see. Obviously, I don't see a lot of DFS Army avatars. I don't see a lot of Guru. I don't see a lot of Roto Grinders. I don't see a lot of Fantasy Labs. I don't see a lot of even the lineup sellers in there. Now, I'll see a few here and there that give you 8 lineups to choose from and have 1,000 or 2,000 members, and somebody's going to hit on something every night, you know. But I don't see the overall just plethora of big websites that I used to see, and that tells me something. The other thing that I see in combating that avatar situation, I don't even see avatars. I see a lot of these egg faces, and I see a lot of these white star with no experience. These are the names that I'm seeing at the tops of these leaderboards, even in cash games, scoring 300. And here's the other factor. Remember when it used to be hard to score 300 3 years ago? We kind of tried to term the hashtag Club 300. Remember how hard it was to hit the 300 level? Now we're doing it with 8 people. We're doing it repeatedly with a drop score. We're only counting 8 scores and we're hitting 300 every night. That tells you how finite, how small your edge has become, how small your margin for error has become, how perfect you have to be in NBA to win the game. Because of that, because there's less margin for error, your variance goes through the roof. These are all signs telling you your edge is eroding. You have to do something different. And I'm telling you, the way you combat a decreasing edge is to play more tournaments. You can back it with some cash, but you play more tournaments. Because if you finish first in a 50-50 and you are not in a tournament tonight, you fucked up. Bad. You produce a top 1% lineup that wins a 100-man 50-50. You better be in some upside contests. You will not win otherwise, long term. That edge is gone. There is no cash game only anymore that is, in my opinion, profitable. I don't care what anybody tells you because the game is too tough in just those cash games. The education of the masses is just too good. When guys with no experience and no avatars and whatever else who don't necessarily take the game seriously can come in here and smash the top 10 of a 50-50 like this, the fish are they're just not there. There are not a lot of them anymore. When I go down 2 pages and I see more eggheads and only one avatar I recognize, 3 pages, another avatar, same lineup, of course, because it's a lineup seller, white star, eggheads, 4th, eggs. Okay? Now, if I go into the next contest, which was the next night's 50-50, right? Great score there. I tried something different, but 94th out of 100. But look at all the top eggs. Next page. A little bit more avatars, which is a good thing. Eggs. Eggs. Eggs are cashing. When eggs are cashing and the big avatar companies are not, then we're all struggling with the same format. You see the conclusion I'm drawing here? Look at the eggs on the 100-man league. The top 12 got paid. Look at the eggs. All of them. Now that should theoretically be a good thing. Look at the no experience here. Slingobot, do you really think, I would say a lot of people are questioning, hey, does the guy that has no star, is he really a pro and just signed up for a new account and then he's taking advantage of it? No. Why not? Because if he's a smart pro, he's in the beginner contest. He's not in the experienced player contest unless he's stupid. So this is truly a newer player. And look at the guy. You got 3 of them right here that just missed the cash. That shouldn't happen in a game like NBA where the experienced players have the edge. But that's a good sign because if these guys who theoretically don't know what they're doing are in the games, we should have an advantage over those guys. We might not in this format. And that's what we have to determine. Is this drop score format profitable? Do we have an edge in it? If we don't have an edge in it, we're just gambling. And that's kind of where my mind is starting to go at this point is I think that drop score removed your edge. Your edge was already going away just in the fact that 30 people are at 286 and above. 20 people are threatening 300, and that did not happen 3 years ago. The game has come along very, very quickly. Algorithms and optimizers and accurate projections have leveled the playing field. If you don't have access to them, you are way behind the 8 ball. I liken that back to poker when HUDs came out, when the heads-up displays came out. If you didn't have one, everybody was exploiting the crap out of you, and you didn't see their numbers to exploit them back. You were way behind the 8 ball. If you don't have access to projections and an optimizer these days, you're toast. Unless you're playing the drop score format where anybody can apparently win. Okay? So let's just put that to bed. Let's move on. I wanted to at least express to you guys and show you guys the logic behind the fact that the edges are going away in this this drop score format, but really and truly NBA overall. because of these projections. So you need to be capitalizing a little bit more on getting away from the herd, finding out where people are going, getting a little bit away from that, playing a little bit more tournament, a little bit more upside stuff to capitalize on your good nights when they do happen so that they repair the damage of your bad nights. Ultimately, that's your answer right now to the evolution of this game. And it doesn't help that FanDuel is decreasing your edge on purpose by changing the rules of their game to increase the chances that everybody sticks around long term and just keeps paying the rake. We have to be smarter than that and understand where the holes in the armor are and exploit those. And one of the best ways to exploit an advantage, one of the best advantages to exploit is only playing when you have an edge. And if you determine that you don't have an edge, get out. Get out of that game and go find another. There's still edges out there, but maybe not this format. Okay, so let's wrap that up, put that to bed. Let's move on to the NBA research station today, because what I want to focus on today is a little bit different. 3-game value. This is a section, the who's hot section, 3-game versus 10-game, 3-game average fantasy points, 10-game average fantasy points. Take the difference. You get your 3-game versus your 10-game. You've got a 1-game if you want. You've got 3-game value. Who brought value, the most value over 3 games? Seems like that would be a pretty cool thing to watch, to check along with what you're normally doing. You can certainly look. I like comparing last 5, last 10-game numbers. Now I don't do that necessarily in basketball like I do hockey and some other, baseball, some other type situations. But when I see a 5-game and a 10-game average, I get a little bit giddy because I can see if he's averaging 22 over his past 10 games, 25 over his past 5 games, he's hot. Something changed. Did his minutes come up? Did his usage come up? Was he just on a hot streak? What's the deal? But generally speaking, you can sort this column in descending order. Pull everybody on the slate up that's running hot. You're going to get a lot of your drop score candidates here, but these could be drop score candidates that were thrust into bigger roles. If you look at their minutes, average of almost 5 minutes per game more for Terry Rozier. Why? Kyrie was out. When Kyrie's a little bit hurt, or a little nicked up or dinged up, and Terry Rozier gets in there, of course, his production is going to come up. It's no surprise that he's been bringing value over the last 3 games on an average, right? That's okay. We were on him in one of those for sure. Just a little bit of an advantage. This is something the industry doesn't have. This is a tool that is exclusive to DFSArmy.com. You need that edge if you're going to play these games. Look here, there's a big minute bump out of Jahlil Okafor. I don't know if it's going to continue tonight. That's up to you. Like I said, I'm giving you a piece of the puzzle. Your job is to go assemble the puzzle. Assemble your player pool based on some of these fundamental factors, and then you come out with the right mix and the right lineups. Okay, you can use all of this section over here. You can sort these by position, point guard, shooting guard, whatever. Write down your list of maybe top 3. You're going to find some of your cheaper guys up here, obviously. But if you can find some of the bigger salary guys like Capella, who's been on a run lately, bringing 6x value over 3 games, and he's on the slate tonight, you need to look into whether or not you should play him again. Because that can tip the scales in a good direction. A little bit more minutes, and definitely a 5 over a 10. 5 and 10 is the same. That's interesting. Exactly the same. 9,100 at 50. Now at 44, he's bringing about that 5x number that we look for. 3-game fantasy average of 53, running hot. Right? Scroll down a little bit more to some of these other guys down here, and now we'll start getting into some of the big names. Your Blake Griffins, 5.6x value over the last 3 games. Pretty good. Sabonis, 5.7. We know why. Miles Turner's hurt. Some of these are just intuitive. Others require a little bit of digging. DeMar DeRozan at 8,500, 5.6x. These are guys that if you've been playing them lately and you've been on them consistently, Anthony Davis, 5.5x. If you've been on these guys consistently, your lineup, your core of your lineup has probably been pretty good. And it's just a matter of whether or not you get your secondary picks right. Okay, that's one way to use another tool and add that in to your game. When I scroll back over here, we can sort again by the and one and just drop through that player pool really quick. So it's just the easiest way to start. It's the easiest way to get you good quality players in a quick amount of time. I will take that and one, and then I will sort by minutes. I'm going to drop out everybody without 25 minutes because I don't want a window on my list. I want largely guys that are going to be drawing the start. So greater than 25 minutes. It's not too hard to do, right? These sortable tools, filterable tools, will help you knock down your player pool in a heartbeat. How many people did I just cut out there on the NBA slate tonight? Quite a few, right? Mostly all my benchies. I can pick 9 starters. You know, occasionally you get a 6-man or somebody in there who's projected for 24, 25 minutes. It does well. I'm willing to let my coaches tell me who that guy is tonight and then make a determination from there. I'm tending to go a little bit more balanced in some of the drop score stuff because I'm trying to figure out how to minimize those drops. But the drop score candidates are volatile. And if I've got 3 of them in my lineup and 2 of them fail, I'm toast. What I need access to a couple of the studs, and that's what the drop score helps me get. But I largely need to be building a fairly balanced core that is value based. How's it value based? Looking at 3-game value averages, looking at who's going to get more minutes tonight, looking at who's being thrust into a more usage role. Those are the fundamentals that are going to tell me who's currently underpriced for what they should do tonight. And then I just need them to go out and do it. So your and one player pool when we go to point guards, and then we'll just wrap this up, make it a real quick video today. Ben Simmons. Now, again, I'm looking at who's over a 10 or over an 11 theoretically, but over double digits. It's not a very deep player pool tonight. Simmons, Lillard, Sexton, Conley, Dinwiddie. Now, again, you can scroll over if you want and see who's running hot. 3-game numbers, 3-game value, not a lot. Down here, Chris Dunn, if he gets some kind of a start. Way down here, Derek White. These are guys that this is just not a real strong position tonight. Might be an opportunity to either pay up, take the studs, positional scarcity, or take a little bit of section or take a little bit of value where you can find it. Again, that's going to be up to you and the game plan you put together for yourself. Shooting guards. Top 3 to 5. There's some strong gapage right there between a 21 and a 16. So Harden and Russell. D'Angelo Russell's interesting at 7,700. You're going to want to dig into him today. Why did he just pop on the numbers? Right? 5.1x at shooting guard. Relatively inexpensive. If you're taking value at point guard, maybe you spend up a little bit at shooting guard. That would throw traditional lineup construction on its head a little bit because we would like to sometimes pay up for a more consistent position in point guard and lower our price, kind of like tight ends at shooting guard where it's a little bit more volatile. Drew Holiday, CJ McCollum, these are all decent picks. Look, this is a relatively deep position tonight. That's a good sign. Small forward, Giannis, a bunch of questionables. You might skip over them. Got good ADVP matchups, though. But you might skip over them. Osman, Warren, Barnes, Ingram types. These are guys that don't have super strong matchups. Again, one of the weaker positions. You're going to puts Giannis once again. It puts Giannis in a great spot. A great spot. You might be able to overcome, unless Harden goes for 80 points, you might be able to overcome a Harden night at 56, 60 points. If you also get Giannis at 55 and then make better choices at the shooting guard spot. If Giannis goes off, then there you go. It's not suggesting necessarily that he will, unless he ends up matching up against James Harden, who we know doesn't really enjoy defense. But James Harden, if he's defending him, could also put Giannis in foul trouble. So that's an interesting little spot there for what you might want to do with Giannis tonight. But he's very valuable according to his position, just based on salary and scarcity. A lot of people are going to be going double low here, or low to mid, double small forward, without a Kawhi, without a Kevin Durant, whatever, on the slate. And that's going to make Giannis a pretty powerful leverage play because we know he does have the ability to break the slate. He breaks the slate tonight, I imagine his ownership is going to be fairly low. A lot of people in cash are certainly going to lock in Harden. Anthony Davis, another potential slate breaker, of course, but you've got Blake Griffin up there with him. You know, you've got maybe a little bit of John Collins, something like that. People are going to maybe offset this position a little bit. It's not deep either. This is looking like a pretty trash slate tonight, to be honest with you. It's another tip for you. If you see this slate and you start thumbing through the slate and you don't get really, really excited about 3 or 4 guys that you just know are underpriced and in advantageous spots, there's no rule that says you have to play the slate. Why throw good money after bad? Doesn't make any sense. You play when you have an edge. If you don't feel like you have an edge, if you can't be there near lock, if you're tilting on a 3-day, downswing or something like that, take the night off. Come back refreshed. Study up tomorrow's matchups. Anthony Davis, another large lead and one over the rest of the field. But Blake Griffin's up there with him. Mark Cannon's up there a little bit to a certain degree. These are guys that I would be looking for to be projected up in high-paced games. Maybe somebody who's pulling decent value. Sabonis again, probably going to be a cash play. I would watch out for that. Being that he's been playing a good bit recently, I would definitely watch out for that to see that if they don't expand their rotation beyond, a normal, 8 to 10 guys and pick up an 11th or a 12th to get some guys some rest, take some wear and tear off the tires. Rounded out with the center spot, you got good old Embiid back on the slate again. Now, they just played last night. This is fun. This is a fun opportunity with the 76ers and the Wizards going home and home. Man, those used to be some great hockey nights. When you get a home and home, that's good stuff. I don't know if it works the same in basketball, but oh my God. That was so much fun in hockey, especially if they got into fights the first game, because you just knew it was on in the second game, especially if it was a bad rival. Philly, Boston, St. Louis, Chicago, something like that. Man, those were some fun games to watch. They don't do that anymore. I wish they'd bring it back. It looks like they brought it back for a game in basketball here, which is intriguing. I'd watch those guys again, watch their minutes last night. If they logged 34, 35 minutes tonight, I'd be watching for them to be turd traps. Not that they can't go out and smash, but the likelihood increases that they're going to get a couple of minutes off. And they're still priced like they're going to be getting 34, 35 minutes. So if they only play 30 minutes and they have just a kind of a mediocre night, they're automatically a little bit overpriced. That's one way to dodge the turd trap, the value turd trap. You look down here, Jarrett Allen at 5.1, that's going to require a little bit of digging. I know we're attacking Atlanta with it, but I'd look into that one a little bit. Either way, you've got some options down here. You've got a decent deep position compared to the others. This might be one where you do take a Jarrett Allen or you come look to pay down a little bit. I don't know if I can go quite as DeAndre Jordan doesn't seem to have the ceiling that I'd like to see. But these are opportunities for you to dig into your research and separate yourself from the field. I showed you a couple of tools and a couple of ways to do it. We've got, 3 coaches today. I've got 4 articles coming out for you today. You use the coupon code New Year down there in the comments section. Become a member today. Go unlock the access to all of those coaches. That's where you're going to make your money. That's where you're going to gain that edge. Switch over. Get out of the drop score format if it's not working for you. Play shorter slates where the volatility goes up and you can really catch a good night. Play more upside tournaments, more GPP type situations. These are all ways you can combat those losing streaks and combat those edges. But the bottom line is you've got to find out where the majority of the world is working and emulate them there, or find out where the majority of the herd is going and then leverage off of them. Just multiple ways to combat the GPP, the theory of the game, the bringing an edge back into your game, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you can get in there today, we can be helping you tonight when it comes to becoming a VIP at DFSArmy.com. Hopefully I see you on the inside. That's a little bit of your NBA and DFS diary breakdown, a little bit of tip up front about the edge in the game and how to look at those results and see why that drop score format might be leading to more random events, which again means play more GPP heavy. Hopefully this tip works. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button down there at the bottom. We'll get this content rolling out to you guys on a daily basis again. Maybe tomorrow we'll go back to a little bit of NHL. I know PGA kicks off. We're locked and loaded with all that content inside DFSArmy.com. Come check us out. Love to have you. We're looking for people that are looking for us. We're looking for people that actually want to learn the fundamentals of the game, get inside it, and become better skilled players. We're not looking for the button pushers that just want to click an optimize button and have it be over with. We're looking for guys that actually want to discuss the game, learn the game, dig into the community, and help us all find those edges and exploit them, share the knowledge, and get better as a result. That's what we're looking for. Come and join us, DFSArmy.com. I'm your buddy Chop It On, and I'm out of here.